and what is your faults? And you'd say, oh, well, I'm a perfectionist. You don't mind if I take that, do you? Sorry this review is late. The episode in my region was delayed by one day. So I figured, hey, if they're going to delay it by a day anyway, maybe it'll be up early in the morning on the next day, November 19th. I was mistaken. It was actually streaming late the night of November 19th. And I was way too tired to review it last night. So actually feels like we're over a day late somehow. But then on top of that, we're also late because of the release schedule of this episode. I don't know what's going on right now with CBS, Paramount, whatever it is. Everything's in flux right now. Things are being removed from different services. I feel very bad for people in sectors of space that have to use international distribution. I bet you they miss the days when they can just turn on the television and watch. Oh well. Regardless, me complaining about this feels kind of like somebody complaining that their executioner hasn't arrived soon enough. I felt like all day yesterday I was sitting in my electric chair saying, come on guys, pump up the juice, I'm ready to die. And then late last night they finally turned the power on and electrified my entire body when they released Discovery Season 4, Episode 1, Kobayashi Maru. Odd that we haven't had an episode called that yet. For those of you who don't know, Kobayashi Maru is a test that we all fail. I failed it, with grace I might add, at Starfleet Academy. It's a test they give you that you cannot possibly pass. The point is that they want you to experience the fear of a no-win situation. Wink, wink. Of course, we don't believe in the no-win situation here. People have tried to cheat it before. But the point is that you're supposed to fail. And this episode kind of fails. In a way, this episode is its own Kobayashi Maru. Okay? We all knew it was going to fail. We all knew there was no way it could pass. But we watched it anyway, because we had to. In this episode, we start off with an annoying previously on Star Trek Discovery, where we have to sit through the contrived nonsense of the ending of Season 3. Something, a Sukal, a young Kelpian, was born on or near a planet that was made entirely of dilithium, and he was telepathic or something, and it caused some kind of psychological link between him and the world he was on, and he screamed, and it resonated through all dilithium, and any ship with an active warp drive blew up, because I guess every single ship runs on dilithium. They don't. Not every ship uses dilithium. There's many ways to engage warp other than with straight up dilithium contained warp plasma style warp architecture that we use here. So forgetting that, we see that they go down to this planet and they save this kid, Sukal, and take him back to Kaminar. Saber goes back to Kaminar. Our characters are inducted into the annals of Starfleet proper, getting their new uniforms and whatever, only to be replaced by new uniforms again months later that we see in this episode. And that's where we find ourselves at the beginning of Season 4. We're introduced to the president of the United Federation of Planets, Lara Rilak, who looks like one of her distant ancestors could have been a Cardassian. I see the little head spoon. Nobody tell Miles O'Brien. I know he doesn't like them spoonies. So we get a rousing speech from both her and Michael, and it felt good. I was happy about the speech. I was thinking, I'm ready to put the past behind me. I'm ready to just dive in. Let's just go explore some stuff. But I was hoping beyond hope, especially after they had the balls, the gall, the cojones to play Archer's theme. They announce in the background through the window they're standing in front of Archer Space Dock or Archer Dry Dock, whatever you want to call it, a frame for designing new starships or whatever, does not to me indicate 31st century technology in any way, the way it's designed. But barring that, it plays Archer's theme from Star Trek Enterprise. I don't know why it plays it. I mean, just because it's named Archer Space Dock, whatever it is, Archer Dock. I think it would have been cooler if they announced a starship called the Archer. I think it would have been more fitting for them to play that music there, rather than just a dock. Like, come on, guys. Can we make a new ship that looks good and call it the Archer? Come on, guys, come on. Anyway, any type of visual splendor that you might get from it was ruined by the post-processing and lighting of Discovery. It's anything that looks cool is immediately destroyed by dark lighting, glint, glare, bloom. It's so disgusting. I unfortunately can hardly give any points to this episode just in the visual front, just because of the post-processing. I think we're starting to worry about the visual fidelity of our geometry and our CGI assets. I think we're starting to worry that they're not going to hold up to scrutiny. I think that's why we keep smearing Vaseline on the screen. That's what I would do if I were them, and I wasn't confident in my model work. Just saying, as someone with experience. So we have 3 different concurrent plot scenarios here. We have an A, we have a B, we have a C. Something in my eye. What is that? I guess there's nothing. Our A plot is Burnham and the Discovery on an adventure to rescue a space station that is in peril. Our B plot is Book, his brother, and I think his brother's son, maybe, I don't know, going back to Quajan to do like a rite of passage ceremony for this young child. I guess he's becoming a man or something. I don't know how it all works out, but it's not that important. You'll see why in a moment. And our C plot is simply Saru on Kaminar talking to some people. Riveting stuff, I know. In this episode, we also had a bizarre scene at the beginning with, I guess, Michael and just Book alone taking down Book's ship from the Discovery to a planet that we're trying to buddy up with and bring it into the fold of the Federation by offering it free dilithium. And it's a completely psychotic scene of them running through the woods at night, being shot at, and survive somehow. And they repair their satellites that improves their magnetic navigation in their mind, because in a stunning display of fast science words, Adira discovers that they work like birds and have magnetite in their head or something that lets them interact with electromagnetic fields, and they need these satellites to work, and the Discovery repairs them, and then they're all happy, and then they get their dilithium. Maybe you shouldn't beam down. Well, they didn't beam down. They're not even that smart. Maybe you shouldn't take one ship down with 2 people down to this planet. What? Is Book qualified to do this? How come Book is the only one who can use Book's ship, but Book's ship is exclusively in the shuttle bay of the Discovery? Why is he allowed to do that? We should have had like 10 people beam down. And better than that, we should have just beamed down a bunch of dilithium at the beginning instead of giving it to them later. Instead of ending up in a hilarious misunderstanding about cats and queens and just having no diplomatic ability to deal with these aliens, causing such an extreme incident where our main characters almost die. Could we get just someone from the Federation, a diplomatic corps, to go down there that are trained to do this and can think these things through? Like we could have done this better. And we're insane on this ship. We could have easily navigated this. Like it's not. My brain wanted to forget that scene so hard that I didn't mention that it actually happens at the beginning. Just, this episode is bookended by garbage on either side with some nastiness sprinkled in the middle, making this a very hard episode to sit through. And what's shocking about it is that by Discovery standards, this episode is actually really good. That's what's so frightening about it. So bear with me here. We're back at Federation HQ. It turns out that there's a space station, deep space repair station, something. I don't know. It's having a problem with its inertial dampeners, its artificial gravity cradle, and they need the Discovery to come down there with programmable matter, essentially, to repair their problems. Sounds like every day in the Corps or the fleet. And Adira and Tilly beam onto the space station only after the Discovery has to match its plane and rotation with the out-of-whack station. I'm not sure if that's something we had to do before in Starfleet. I certainly never read about it. But I guess we have to do that now. I guess it does remove variables for the person operating the transporter. And it removes spatial variables. So maybe it's a good thing that we tried to match the rotation of the space station. I don't know. Tilly and Adira beam on. We need to fix whatever is wrong with this station. Science words here, science words there. We get it out of the way fast, so we don't have to think about it as an audience. Things are going wrong. I can't. It all happens so fast. I can barely. These live action Star Trek shows, it's written by so many people and there's so many executives involved that there's so many cooks in the kitchen that they just have to get through these scenes fast, because if you stop and think about it, it doesn't make sense. So this all happens so fast. Something goes wrong with the repairing. They realize that there's some kind of gravity, there's a gravity lensing effect in the background behind the space station, which could have been caused by the culprit that was destroying this station. Some kind of gravity, some kind of flaw in gravity. Maybe it's directed, maybe it's not. Regardless, the station and Discovery are running into what they refer to as an Oort cloud. I did not know that Oort cloud was a catch-all term for various fields of debris. My home solar system has an Oort cloud around it. I did not know that there was multiple Oort clouds, or Oort clouds was something that you could just throw around willy-nilly. I called it the Oort cloud my entire life, but I guess it was actually just an Oort cloud. An Oort cloud with frozen methane is also complicating the situation, the repair situation for the space station, and the Discovery extends a shield around the station, so that's fine, but repairs have complicated to the point on the station that this mission has now become a rescue mission. Of course, Lara Rilak, the president of the United Federation, forcibly inserting herself into the bridge and inserting herself into this plot. She is the president, so she has the authority to be on the bridge, and she was on the bridge. She took pains to get onto that ship. Arguments did ensue, but she's there. An immovable object meeting an unstoppable force. Michael is just not going to take her being there, even though she is her superior. Words are exchanged. Michael does not have the ability to just shut up. And Michael has to save the day, of course. Michael has to go out alone in a worker bee, much to the chagrin of the president, who rightly says, "Is that a good idea?" Guess what? No, it's not. But Michael has to do it because she's the main character. Michael tries to use the worker bee to dislodge something on a space station. I can't figure out what it was. Her worker bee gets smashed though, and a suit, programmable matter suit, forms over her body, and it's exactly like Iron Man with the internal view of the face. So tired of characters just flying around in Star Trek in a spacesuit. I'm so done. I'm done seeing that. Why do we keep doing that? Oh my god, I wish 2009 never happened. Why did the Kelvin movie have to do that with the spacesuits and flying around? It just keeps happening. I don't want to see any more suits on people in Star Trek. It's dangerous. Do you know how hard that is to fly around like a superhero? People aren't superheroes. They can't do that. That's not normal. We should have used tractor beams. Why didn't anybody think of using the tractor beam on the Discovery in this episode? I think it could have helped. You know? I mean, that's just me. You know, that's just my idea. So they're trying to get on this escape pod from the space station. Of course, Adira has to reprogram it so that it can come back, because it was originally only one way. That's fine. They fixed the escape pod and they all get away, and we think we're going to be fine. But this escape pod and all of our main characters get back onto Discovery. And sure enough, the debris has actually crushed one of the characters on the space station that we were, in short order, learning to like. I was endeared to him. He seemed like a nice guy. Lara Rilak, very smartly, was researching this character's background and his home planet in order to calm him down, essentially, right? Kind of like a hostage situation. She wanted to have the drop on him so she could lay some mental smackdown on this guy, so that she could make it so he wouldn't want to kill everybody, because there was this moment where he was trying to commandeer the space station because he was so afraid. He was pointing phasers at people. And he seemed like a nice guy, just in a bad situation, and then we killed him. He gets onto Discovery and he's a dead body. He's a freaking corpse. Dr. Culber can't save him. So that sucks. We had to see a guy die. We had to see a cool character just die. That's great. That's so awesome that we did that. You know, he could have just been somebody, you know. Could have been a background character we could have. But he's dead. So there's your just genius A-plot. By the way, Lara Rilak reveals to Burnham, after a verbal spat that I can't even imagine saying what Michael is saying to the president of the United Federation of Planets. I can't. Michael won't shut up. She just keeps pressing the issue over and over again. And the writers, they feel the need to give Michael a dressing down all the time, because they hear fans complaining about it, right? But they do it in the same way that you would do it to your employer if you were in an interview for a potential job. The employer would say, and what is your faults? And you'd say, oh, well, I'm a perfectionist. It's the same thing. Whenever they do a dressing down of Burnham, they always say, you have an incessant need to think everything is possible for you to fix. Because you're such a hero, you can't let anyone die. Okay? You think everything's your problem, and you let the weight of the world on your shoulders because you can handle it, or you think you can, and sometimes that causes problems because you're such a workaholic, and you're such a hero. We get that exact scene in this episode. Burnham's like, why were you evaluating my captaincy of the Discovery? Like, why did you think you were allowed to do that just because you're the president? And all I was saying in my mind, Michael, shut up. Michael, just shut up. If you had to just shut up and listen to the president, your standing would have improved, with Starfleet. You could get transferred to a cool ship, one that's not the Discovery. By the way, Lyra Rilek did reveal that they were working on several new starships, a new propulsion technology called Pathway. They name-dropped Pathway, making me think it might have something to do with the gravity distortion, maybe? That would be a cool twist. Again, this is another season of something's wrong. It's going to destroy the universe. We have to stop it, guys. 3 seasons in a row. It wasn't really like that in the first season because we had the Klingon War. But how many more times can we just do this? How many more times can this ship save the universe over and over and over and over and over and over and over? I don't want to see any more universe saving. Okay? I'm done. The Red Angel, the burn, the gravity shit. I'm done. Okay? We don't need to keep doing that. Okay, B-plot. This is a little bit better. Book and his brother and this little child are on Quajan, and they're going through their ceremony to become an adult with this kid. He goes to this tree, he puts his hand on the tree and say that you can feel the root of the world here. You can feel all these souls. You can feel the planet. Isn't that great? These characters are slightly telepathic. This child has a little capsule, and he takes some of the sap from the tree, and he takes a little bit of blood from one of the natives of this planet. I can't tell if it was him or if it was Book. And they put it in this capsule, and he wears it around his neck. Oh, there's a nice little moment. There's a nice little moment that reminds me of Star Trek. And I was like, wow, this is why I wanted to watch Star Trek. I wanted to see people do happy things on other planets and just see other cultures and explore things. And this was so fun. And the child, of course, remarks that why doesn't Book have his capsule with sap on it? And then Book's brother says, that's a story for another day. Unfortunately, that day may never come because the same gravity distortion that disabled the space station disables planet Quajan to the point where it blows up. God, we have to destroy a planet. First episode, we had to destroy a planet. We gotta destroy Vulcan. We gotta destroy Romulus. We gotta destroy Quajan. I'm sure there's a million other planets we destroyed in the last 10 years or so. If you catch my drift. It's never enough. We can't just have a new planet. We have to just destroy it. I'm sorry if you were getting invested in those other characters, but they're gone now. Along with probably everybody on Book's planet. So Book is now going to go to the rest of the season engulfed in a cloud of misery and crying and so much emotion. You can't believe the emotion and the turmoil and the tragedy.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm.
Meanwhile, in our C plot, are you sitting down, folks? We see a conversation between Su'Kal and Saru on Kaminar. Su'Kal telling him, listen, I'm a big boy now. I don't need Saru here looking after me. I know you saved me from weird Dilithium world, but I'm okay now. I have people here that love me. So Saru, if you want to go back to Starfleet, you can. If you want to satiate the appetite of the viewers of this show and be the only interesting character on the Discovery, you can. And Saru's like, yeah, I guess I can have a balanced life. I guess I can go back to Starfleet. And then why not? Well, of course, why not? You have the spore drive. You can just come back. You don't. Space is not a huge place anymore, especially since we've been using the spore drive to bring dilithium to people and recover from the burn and whatnot. You don't have to just be tied down to one spot. And Saru should know this. He's from the past. He's from a time where you didn't have to just stay in one spot. I'm not sure why Saru thinks he just needs to live on Kamenar forever, but he's explaining to them that, listen, there's no more chance for the burn. The science is very clear on this. We don't need to worry about the burn happening again. Su'Kal is safe. Although I would have liked to actually see a presentation given by Saru to the rest of the people on Kamenar about exactly how the burn happened. I would like to see the exact blow-by-blow details on that. That would have been interesting. But I guess we're just supposed to trust him that it's not going to happen again. Just trust me, guys. And that's essentially Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 1, Kobayashi Maru. The name wasn't really that fitting, really, at the end of the day. Our episode ends with Burnham and the President arguing with each other. I don't know why. Burnham will just say whatever she wants. President will say, "You're doing a bad job." And then Burnham will say, "Well, why?" And then the President will say, "Oh, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, these reasons here." And then Michael will say, "Well, those reasons are wrong because that's not true. I'm actually perfect. I do this better than you think, even though you're the President and you know better." And the President's like, "Well, we're evaluating people for a new starship." I want to go on that starship. I want to go on that starship in the space dock. I don't want to be on the Discovery anymore. I want to just go with a crew that's all together and normal and not just picked from every different planet and time and blah, 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 and they're all, whatever. I will say that there was a few unique musical flourishes in this episode that lended a texture to the scenes that they would otherwise not have. However, background music has been one of the strong points of the last few Star Trek seasons and shows. I will say that. It felt natural to me to have Burnham being the captain. It felt like it should have been that way since the beginning. Like she works more naturally as a captain than as a character below the captain who just gets to yell at the captain all the time and get what she wants. I will say that. Michael felt more natural as a captain. Tilly got an upgrade in position. She's a lieutenant now, I believe. That makes sense. She's been an ensign for a long time, and she was in command of a starship for a moment. That's got to be worth something. So that's good. She has an upgrade. Promotion, if you will. Book's ship is still an insane nightmare to look at, and still fits in to the Discovery in such a way that it looks like you couldn't fit a credit card between it and the wall of the shuttle bay, which is an interesting feat of engineering, is it not? So you got an episode doing a great job setting the tone for Season 4. We're not exploring anything. We're destroying planets. We're killing people. We're fighting. We're arguing with the President of the Federation of Planets. And we're seeing other ships in dry dock that make our hearts yearn for a show that we cannot have. That's Discovery Season 4, Episode 1. We ran from laser fire. We jumped off a cliff. We watched a planet explode. We killed people. Everything was ugly. The CGI looked very bad. This is, I think, every season the CGI is worse than the previous season. There were some nasty looking scenes in this episode. I guess a single saving grace is that we do see Starfleet returning to its previous status. We have a new class of Starfleet cadets. Things looked like they were more back to normal, but I don't think they are. So unfortunately, I have to give this episode a 4. Really, it's a 3.5, but I'm giving it a 4 just because it's the first one, and we're hoping we can do better. 5 being my standard. If this was below standard, I wasn't happy after seeing it, and it did not make me excited to see more. What can I say? This is a 4. That's right, 4 to 10. Lock it in. Sorry this video was late. It's not fun reviewing an episode you didn't like. It doesn't make you feel good. It makes it hard to do the video. Okay? I mean, you might like this if you've never seen Star Trek ever. You might be able to go into this and see, like, fun stuff happening. I mean, there's action. Like, things happen. You know? There's excitement to be had at the base level. But, unfortunately, Prodigy is on hiatus right now, so I can't tell you to just go watch that instead. But if you haven't seen Prodigy, there's a few episodes out already. You can check out some of them. They're not perfect. They're very bog standard. But standard is a lot better than Suicidal Nightmare. This has been Lieutenant Mark, and I'm about to go take a nice sonic shower to wash off this episode. Wasn't the worst episode ever, but it's very, very, very far from the best. See you later.